Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our stream. So it's 7th of April. It's the last day of the Core 2022 beta competition on Kaggle. Unfortunately, we haven't reached something super good for our DQN setups, but we'll keep trying today, right? So let's look at what we have right now. I think yesterday I was working on the run 54. And you can see here, so let's look at 54 first. You can see here, even though our epsilon dropped to like 1% and it's supposed to be less random, but the performance is kind of similar to all the way at the beginning, right? So it's kind of same as random. So even though this graph looks okay-ish, like the loss is going up is not correct, but Q is quite stable and it's jumping upstairs. I don't know why. So this kind of already looks a little bit weird, and the reward is not going up. Number of turns is not going up, so it's not really better than random, right? So I tried a few things, and then I arrived here, which is even worse than random, right? It's winning actually less, right? But the loss graph looks really good though. I mean, it's pretty accurate at predicting the Q values. It's just not able to progress further, right? So what I did here is I did a few changes before the stream. Of course, I had better logging and stuff like that. So I had logged the actual Q values for each turn. Like you can see here are the actual Q values. From here, I can see quite a few things going wrong, right? Let's take a look at this one, for example. So in this case, in this turn, 306, you can see that we have a lot of core and we don't have a lot of ships, right? So technically, this should favor building ships, and it does favor building ships, right? So 22.6 action 2 is building ships, and so this is action 0, action 1, action 2, action 3, right? So these are the corresponding Q values for each action. And the agent is supposed to pick the one that has the highest value, right? So in this case, if it's not picking random, it would have picked the action 2. But as you can see, these values are pretty close, right? These are very, very close values. And in fact, if you look at this one, 308, right? So actually, building ship is the lowest Q value here. So that's the exact opposite of what I wanted to do, right? I wanted to build ship, but the DQN algorithm is predicting that doing nothing or even building a shipyard is a better choice in this case, which is completely wrong, right? Because it doesn't even have enough ships to build a shipyard. To build a shipyard, you need 75 ships, whereas we only have 19 ships, right? So this prediction is actually not what we want, right? So I guess that just goes to show, this model is not doing exactly what we wanted to do. Again, we can see here it has one shipyard and about 10,000 core. And the best action that it decides to do is to mine, right? So obviously there's something wrong with this agent that is not able to figure out what's the best thing to do. Yeah, so based on this, I actually did a few tuning on, rewards and penalties and stuff like that. Also gamma and alpha. But somehow, we're still stuck here, and the Q values are not what we expect. Right? So let's just put it that way. So I think I'm gonna try something a little bit more drastic. I think one reason why it's not predicting a crab move is just that it doesn't have the correct information to begin with. So that's to do with our state encoding. So maybe our state encoding is, not the best way to encode it. Previously, we used two-dimensional encoding, whereas we encode the player type and the information as the value directly. So we have this tensor index map, and then we just dump the raw values inside, right? I feel like this is probably not the best way, because if you dump the raw values, then it's a little bit hard to control the activation of the neurons, right? If you get what I mean. So it's like it's not able to differentiate between, like, 2 or 3 and 3 and 4 and stuff like that. So it's not able to tell the nuances between different states. That's why I think it's better if we have a third dimension wherein we encode each numeric value as a separate dimension, right? Let's say we have a dimension of 5, corresponding to 0, small value, medium value, large value, extreme large value. And if we have a medium value, we'll set the dimension of 3 to 1 and others to 0. And if we have an extremely large value, we'll set all the other dimensions to 0 and the extreme large value to 1, right? So we kind of turn the numeric values into a dimension on its own, so that it avoids this linear, continuity of numeric values and the relationship between the different values, right? So that it can sort of make better decisions. I think that's what is supposed to happen. And we also want to include, whether we have enough ship to spawn a shipyard, right? And also the positional information, like whether it's dangerous or not. So all this information we should be able to include in our new state representation. And hopefully it's gonna do much better than this, right? This is basically, not what I hope to get, even though the loss graph looks very nice, right? It's not, taking the action that I think it should have taken. So that's the main problem I have with this setup. You can see here, okay, this is no shipyard, so it's probably correct. You can see here, even though we have shipyard, actually the building ship is the least favorite choice here, which is kind of worrying. Yeah, it's prioritizing mining when we only have 6 ships, right? So I guess, something is wrong with the encoding. The reward side is fine, I think, because I've already optimized the reward a lot of times. I think the problem lies currently with the state representation. So let's stop this and let's try to encode the state in a better way, right? I'm gonna turn on the debugging so that we can check the state encoding stuff, right? And then I'm gonna completely change how we encode the state. So instead of 2, we're gonna have 3, right? So max vector length is 8, and then I guess the vector size, right? So we can change this to max vectors, and then we have a max vector length. I guess is 5. I think 5 is enough. Right, so we have width, height. Wait, what else is there? Width, height. Okay, I guess that's enough. And depth, right? I guess we can just call this depth, max vector length. Okay. So this is what we want. And then we have to turn each of this numeric value into some kind of vector, right? I think because of how the log function actually works, it's actually pretty easy to kind of, if I just want to, use 1 to 20 as the, dimensions, then I have 20 dimension, then it's the easiest way to do this. But I feel like I'm gonna run into other problems. So let's take a look at this actually. If I want to write something that is a little bit more finely tuned, I would say, right? Right, so I'm gonna have another thing here. So I'm gonna switch this over to the last part. So this is gonna be a dimension on its own, and I'm gonna set the value 1 or 0 at the beginning, right? So that's what we're gonna do. So the player shipyard count and enemy shipyard count. We also gonna have another dimension to it, right? And then the turn count, of course, we also gonna have another dimension, right? So max vector length is 5. So we only have 5 vectors to work with. I think that's should be more than enough. Hopefully, I think anything more than 5 is a little bit hard for the neural network to train already. So I think 5 is a decent decent thing to have. Right. So wait, where is the turn thing? Okay, so the turn thing is here, I guess. Then this is no longer necessary, right? We don't need 3 of them. We just need a turn info, right? Turn count. Yeah, and we just need the turn count. And then we can move this to the bottom. Oh, sorry, to the utils. So we need turn and player shipyard, right? So we need to scale the shipyard count for input, right? So this one is the same. Scale turn for input, right? And then because we set the thing to 5, so that one is gonna return a number that is smaller than 5, right? Values. Type of any one numbers, right? Okay. So we can use the same. So we're gonna add const vector values, right? So vector values is gonna be like this, right? So it's gonna be like this as const. And I'm gonna have a type, something like this. Type vector value equal to type of vector values number, right? So this is gonna give us 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So these are the dimensions I'm gonna set to. I'm gonna export this, right? And I'm gonna set this to the return value of all these scale functions, so that return me a vector value, right? I think this is how I want to do this. Oh no, I think I shouldn't have done that. So this is gonna create a circular dependency, so let's not do that. How do we do this? Okay, let's create a new file. State_util.ts. We're gonna move all this to the state_util so that doesn't mess up the stuff that we have here, right? I'm also gonna move all this to state_util so that we don't have circular dependencies, which is quite problematic if you think about it. Yeah, so now that we have this, export this. Let's focus on writing this. Okay, correct. Okay. This is gonna be our so this is gonna be our most important YouTube, the lowest dependency, right? This should not depend on any other thing, right? That's the idea. Let's scale all this to the scale of 0 to 1, right? Okay, so if 0 to 0 and 0, okay. Can you return 5? No, I can't, right? Okay, I think this is fine. 100, 1000, more than 1000. Maybe 5 is not enough. Maybe 5 is not enough. Maybe 6 is better. Right, maybe 6 is better. Now we have one more number to work with. So this is gonna cover the case between 10,000. Oh, what? Let me think about this. Yeah, I think this is reasonable enough, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, reasonable. Shipyard count. Shipyard count is a little bit tricky. So this is definitely not correct already. One, return 1, count go equal to 2, return 2. Three, 1, return 5. Okay, so 0, 1, 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3, smaller or equal to 5. Yes. So 4 and 5 is about the same. Then more than 5 is 5. I think that's reasonable again. Very reasonable. Maybe I need one more. Do I need one more? So this one is really tricky, right? Because I want to differentiate 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Four and 5. Okay, I think this. Let's try this first. I don't know if it's gonna work, but yeah. Okay, so this is definitely wrong. This is very wrong. I would say 20, 100, maybe 200, 300, maybe 200 is 2, 300 is 3, 350 is 4. Right, okay. 350, maybe a special case for 380. No. Okay, I need one more. Definitely need one more. So this is not working out. This is not working out. I need one more number here. Okay, let's try this again. So for core, let's see if this makes sense. Core, let's add one more. Let's add one more here, which is 50, right? So we can add one more here because we have one more number. Same thing here. We can add one more here. Ship count, right? 3, 4, 5. Okay. Shipyard count. Now we have one more thing to work with. We can change this to 4, and then return 6. Sorry, this should be 6. Oh, we need a max, right? value equals to tolerance minus 1. Oh, sorry, it should be just this minus 1. Never mind, we just put it 6. I think it's easier to deal with. Export const. So this one is always gonna be the last one. We don't have to worry about this. 3, 4, and then if it's smaller or equal to 6, we'll enter to 4, 5. Right? I think that's reasonable. It's reasonable. Turn information is the one that is more tricky. So now we have one more number to work with. We could extend this a little bit further. 300, 350, and 380. So this is reasonable, I think. All right. So these are all okay. Let's import this. Let's do this. Oh wait. Export. Okay. Right. So instead of these, I'm gonna set this to 1. So this is how you turn a numeric value to dimension, right? So you just set the respective dimension index to value of 1 instead of just setting the value to the value. So this is a trick that I learned from somewhere else, but yeah. Anyway, this should be a quick thing to do. We just need to set all this correctly. Right, so this one, gonna put back here. Sorry, 1. Okay, let me add ones first so that it's faster. Just gonna put 1 all over the place. Gonna move this to the back. It's slightly faster. Player shipyard count, right? So this is no longer the player shipyard count. It's gonna be scaled. Scale shipyard count for input. So it's gonna do this. Scale shipyard count for input. Do this. And this one is gonna be tensor index map of turn count. Scale turn for input. Okay. All right. So this looks pretty good. Let's do the same for the states. I'm just gonna do this. Hopefully it works out. Right. Gonna change all the 0 to n like how we did it last time. Okay. All right. So this is how I'm gonna encode it now, right? This is a new way of encoding. Hopefully everything works. Scale core, scale ship. Right. So these two have to be moved here. Okay, don't need this anymore. Okay. We haven't fixed this problem, but it's fine. Yes. Yeah, it's not able to find, but whatever. Yeah. Can I refresh the workspace somehow? Can I refresh the workspace to? I don't know how to do it, but oh, we can refresh it here. Oh, it still doesn't fix this problem. Okay. Okay, let me do a little bit of investigation on why it doesn't do that. TensorFlow, FJS node is there, right? Why are you not finding it? Okay. I guess it doesn't index the Node.js stuff. Okay. Let me try something interesting. I'm gonna just run npmi here, and I think this should fix the problem, hopefully. Oh, it doesn't. Okay. Just refuse to recognize that I already have TensorFlow. No, sure, whatever. All right, so this is a new setup. This is a new setup. Am I creating the model correctly? That I need to check. Number of actions, height with steps. Right. So we have one more thing that we need to pass in. Create. So this is gonna be env dot depths. So we will go back to the three-dimensional input as we expected it to be. All right. So now we encode this information. Right, so now we have encoded this information, so this part is done. Now I want to encode positional information to avoid danger. Oh yeah, we need to have encode whether we have enough ship to spawn shipyard, right? So this could be a part of the core or ship count. So I guess if it's 3, then it should have enough to spawn. If it's less than 50, then it cannot spawn. I guess this is covers it, I guess, most likely, right? So I think it's covered with the ship count encoding. So how are we gonna encode the positional information, right? I think a simple way is to check whether we are in danger. So let's try to find the logic that checks the danger thing. I think it's somewhere here. Right, so it's this thing, right? Dangerous shipyard nearby. So how are we gonna encode this information? Is there an easier way to encode this information without doing a lot of computation? I feel like if you do too much computation, then it's cheating. Right. Enemy on. I think this is also a good indication of whether there's danger. Right? I think this should act as a good indication of whether there's danger. So let's postpone this danger thing to a later stage. Right? I think this should be good enough. These two changes should be good enough on its own. So let's just run it and see what happens. Right? I guess the first one is gonna be a test run, which we will debug our state to see whether it's making sense. Okay, something's wrong. Coordinate must be all right. So let's see. One, two, three. Wait a second. Tensor index map. Max vectors is 8. Oh, this should actually be 6. Right? This should actually be 6. Yeah, it's a little bit messy here. Let's put this on top. What's wrong here? Okay, let's see what is wrong here. So this two, I don't really care. Now we have 3-dimensional input, which looks correct. This is a value, which is also correct. Huh, why is it telling me that it's wrong? Try another time. I don't actually know why it's wrong. Must match rank 3. Alright, still the same. Rank 3. How is it rank 3? This is 3, right? Oh, the coordinate must be rank 3. Oh, I think I know why. Yeah, this buffer is wrong, right? Okay. So this one we also have to change here. Forgot about the buffer. Completely forgot the buffer. Okay, so now it looks correct. Alright. So with the 2 runs, it's fine. Let's try another run. I always start with a new number because you never want to have weird stuff like interacting between different runs. They can screw things up unexpectedly. So I always start with a new run, even though it looks like completely unrelated stuff. Alright, so now stuff are coming out. Let's see. Let's check some of these. Alright. Oh no, these are empty. Wait, why is this empty? What? Okay, so there's something here, and these are completely empty. Okay, so it's one. Okay, it's a bit hard for me to read, but it looks correct. Right, so also on this side, it's not logging anything. Failed to read model 62, train agent. Okay. It's not printing out anything. Oh. It's actually not printing out anything. Debug and equals to print state, print state. Let me check. It should print something. Printing train agent. Okay, let's remove this. Yes. I still find it odd that it's not printing anything. Let's try again. I think it shouldn't have happened that it's not writing anything. Should write a lot more information. Okay. So this is the core and the ship, I guess. So we need to make sense of, sorry, I need to make sense of this. So core, ship, shipyard turn. Core, shipyard turn. So, okay, it's still not printing anything out, which I'm not too sure why it's doing that. Maybe somewhere coded wrongly or something. Not too sure. Without this log, I'm actually unable to debug. Okay, I think I know how to get the more data. Let's just do this instead of equals. So that we print every 100 states. Load model to print trained agent. Do request. Okay, this one we already abandoned, so that's fine. Let's try this again. Okay, so now it's printing stuff. Oh no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, okay. Oh, because it never reached 100, that's why it didn't. Okay. Now it makes sense. Okay. Okay. Okay, it's really hard to read this, but let's see. So the last one is supposed to be, so let's look at this one. So the second last one is shipyard count. So it's high shipyard count. Okay. This one has a lot of core. And last one is the turn count. So it's looking okay. Yeah, it's hard to reason about this, but it does look somewhat correct, right? So I'm just gonna assume that it's correct. If not, we can always come back to debug, right? If the result is not making sense, then we can come back to debug this. But now I'm just gonna assume that it's doing the correct thing. And then I'm gonna start the actual training. So hopefully this is gonna be the run that gives us some good result. Oh, we don't have much time anyway. Like we literally don't have much time for this competition for the beta ends, so we need to, yeah, we have 17 hours to go. Okay, let's see how this works. Let's see, initially the Q values are very small, which is fine. It's expected. So we have actually converted all the numeric values to Boolean values. There's actually no numeric value anymore. Everything is just Boolean 1 and 0. Hopefully that's easier for the neural network to understand. We have done the heavy lifting for the neural network, so now it should be in a better position to figure out what's happening. Hopefully, right? I'm not 100% sure. So far, the Q value has been very small, which is interesting to say the least. We didn't change the reward function, right? So I'm not sure why the Q value is very small. Was it like that before? Oh yeah, it was like that before. Oh, but it was like actually much larger. It already have 2 and 3 and stuff like that. But this time it's only, okay, I guess it's because we use the booleans. That's why the backpropagation value is also very small, right? Makes sense. Oh no, the loss is going up. No, that's not good, right? That is not good. Maybe we're learning too slowly. Maybe it's learning very slowly. Oh, yeah, it's definitely very slow. It's a bit of interplay between how we encode the state and how the loss and Q value evolves. Oh yeah, let's look at the model architecture actually. So there's definitely more things to train, right? So this is 19. And previously we were working with 12, right? 12K and this is 19K. So there's like more neurons. All right, the values are still very small, which is very interesting. Hopefully it's gonna go up very soon. I don't think you're supposed to work with values that are this small. The Q value is like very low. I think it's going up, right? I think it should be going up. Let's check the graph. Yeah, it's going up exponentially. I think that it's just that the way we encode it, it's quite hard to get started. That's why it's taking a really long time to get these initial values going. So now we have reached 1.0, at least in this case, so it's good. Yeah, 0.8, 0.9, not yet 1. Loss is kind of peaking as well. Let's observe a few more turns before we say that this is working, right? So I'm not 100% sure that this is the correct setup yet. I want to see the loss start decreasing and then the queue continue increasing for a few more turns, a few more rounds of games. Like at least queue value should reach 1. That's the bare minimum that it should go to. So the loss is kind of still increasing, even though it's not increasing that fast. Yeah, the loss is still increasing. So I mean, probably because the queue is increasing too slowly, that's why the loss keeps increasing. The queue is not, you can see here the queue value and the actual reward is still very far away from each other. That's why the loss is still increasing. So we need the queue value to quickly go up before the loss starts dropping, right? So this interplay between the queue and loss. There's such a big disparity between the reward observed, like 25, and the reward predicted, that the loss is very high. So maybe we shouldn't have used 1 in those things. Should I use something else? I don't know. Maybe. It should come down once the Q value start picking up. 1.2, 1.3. Hopefully it's gonna go to 1.4. Okay, still 1.3. Okay, maybe the learning rate is also very low. That's also a contributing factor. 1.4. 0.5. 0.6. Okay, starting to move up. Loss, well, meanwhile, is still increasing. 7. Hopefully it's going up very fast, like exponentially fast. 1.8. Okay, so it's not going up as fast I would like it to be, but at least it's going up. The loss is kind of peaking a little bit, but still going up. Okay, now it has finally come down for the first time. The loss is finally coming down. Yes, it's coming down. So it's coming down from 403 to 403.00. So the next one should be 402. Yeah, 402. And Q is jumping 0.2 instead of 0.1, right? So that's good. That's good. Let's look at the reward. Looking pretty good. Okay, it's taking very long to run these games. I'm not too sure why it's taking so long to run these games. Not too sure why, actually. It's taking much longer than previously. Maybe we're streaming, it's costing CPU. Yeah, maybe that's why. So the loss is finally starting to decrease while our queue is picking up pace to increase even faster. You can see if we remove the smoothing, you can see that our queue is going up exponentially and loss is starting to decrease, so it's a very good trend to have. If we add some smoothing of 0.8, we can also see that our turn count is kind of increasing. Not too sure yet, but looks like it's increasing. For some reason, in the first 6,000-7,000 steps, we didn't win, but now we start winning. Could be just luck, or could be the model doing something. I'm not too sure. Okay, let's look at the actual values, right? So now we have trained 59 rounds. We should have some decent value coming out. So let's look at this case where it has one shipyard, a lot of core, and not enough ships. And the decision is to take action 2, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, and action 2 is the highest, which is correct because we want to build ships. And the action 2 is the build ship action. So this is what we expected to do, which is very, very nice. So now we just have to wait for you know, the loss and queue to sort themselves out quickly, hopefully, and then we should have a hopefully our baseline v3 here, right? I feel like maybe I should have tuned the alpha a bit higher so that we can learn faster, because it's quite slow for this action to pick up, right? So maybe we should turn the alpha up a little bit. So let's do that next time, increase alpha, right? Because it's too slow. Right. So I think we've done this too, and so far looking pretty good. So far looking pretty good, looking at the graph. So this is a nice looking graph. We can compare it to our previous runs. 55, not 55, 54. You can see it's actually doing better at the start in terms of turn number. And the graph just looks more promising with this exponentially growing queue. Anyway, it's way too early to tell yet, but I'm quite hopeful that this is gonna do better. At least judging from current observations, like this one, where the building is actually higher. I think I've observed this for the previous runs as well, and somehow at later stage the building shape becomes deprioritized. So I'm not too sure why it's gradually learning to deprioritize building shapes. So we have to wait and see if this trend holds. But so far looking actually good, right? Okay, as you can see here, actually maybe the model is right that building shape at this late stage is not very useful actually, because you're already losing, right? So whatever you do, it doesn't really matter, right? I guess that's the reasoning behind why it doesn't want to build ship. Actually, hold on a second. This one, it's building ships, but the ship count is, oh, ship count is increasing, right? The ship count is increasing, and we can observe it from here as well. So log ship count is actually higher. Yeah. So I guess it's working. I guess, yeah, it should be working. Shipyard. This. How is this? Okay. Still -7. So even though it's trying to build ship, but it's not getting rewarded for having slightly more ship, right? So that's the problem that I have, because all these numbers logged is about the same value. It's not able to tell the rewards. It's not able to differentiate between 12 or 15 ships. Yeah. it's multiplied by 1.3, which is good, but the log count itself is actually hard to differentiate, right? So maybe we can investigate. Hard to differentiate 12 ships versus 15 ships. So this one we need to take a closer look at the, or maybe we shouldn't have math wrong this. Yeah, why are we doing math wrong? If we shouldn't have done it. I think we shouldn't have done the math wrong for sure. Yeah, I don't think we should have done the wrong here because it really needs to know what's the difference. Yeah, we'll fix that in the next run, I guess. I don't think it's that important. It's important, but it's not that important. Let's take a look at all this. Shape. 15, okay, it's built ship, got rewarded. So it's building ship and it's got rewarded as well, which is great. Okay, I mean this end game logs are also a bit of selection bias, to be honest, because we're already selecting the turns which we lost. Means that, you know, we're probably not looking at the cases where it did well, right? We're looking at the cases where it did poorly, and we are concluding that, you know, it's not doing the correct move. But maybe we're already looking at the cases where it's not like making the correct choices, right? So it's a bit of selection bias here. Even though it looks bad, it's just, you know, because we're purposely choosing to look at the bad data. That's why the data is bad, right? So I don't know how to overcome this selection bias actually. Yeah, looking forward to ideas on how we can avoid this selection bias in terms of logging. Okay, we're gonna watch this further, and later I'm gonna complete my interpreter thingy for the GitHub, I guess. So we still have a open pull requests here that I haven't got time to finish. So this one I want to finish by today so that we can finish it before this competition ends. Right, so that's the plan. All right, we're winning some games already, so that's pretty cool. See, in this case, it's still prioritizing building ships, actually. That's a little bit too much, I feel like. But who knows, maybe it has a lot of enemies nearby, so it's doing what it has to do. All right, let's take a look at the graph again. I would say it's so far looking good, looking pretty good. This is still going kind of exponentially, but slowing down a bit, I can see. This one is still dropping exponentially, which is good. Looking at the loss raw values, it's dropping about 2 per round of game, right? So 310 to 308. Loss is increasing about 0. Q is increasing about 0.2 or to 0.3 every game. Yeah, definitely looking pretty good, I would say. And the actions before we die are actually correct. The only reason why it's not taking action 2 in this case is because it's picking random, and somehow it picked random 0 for all this time, which is a little bit suspicious, but I guess you know, picking random, so if it had not picked random, it would definitely should have picked the action 2, right? So the only reason why we are seeing this amount of 0 is due to two potential reasons. One is we have a bug in our code that is causing it to constantly pick 0. that will be an implementation of our get random move not being correct, or it's just pure luck that it has a 0.73% of chance of picking a 0, and it's done it for a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times or 8 times, right? So that's a 8% chance that this happens. So it's still pretty reasonable, I would say. Yeah, it's only happened this one time, right? It's not like in every situation it's just picking zeros. Yeah, I think that's a outlier definitely. It's looking more evenly distributed in other games, which is fine. All right, I will just leave this graph here for you guys to look at. Gonna take a short break and we'll come back in about 10 to 15 minutes and take a look at the result. All right. Okay, we're back to looking at this progress and it's interesting, right? Sorry about that. So the loss is still dropping, but the Q is a little bit weird that it dropped. And now we're not winning games recently, so probably something is wrong. And you can see our turn count took a very huge drop here. At the same time that our Q started dropping, right? So I think there's something wrong here that I need to take a look at. Let's take a closer look at what's going on here. All right, so okay, so it's still prioritizing building ships. Let's take a look at this case. It's ever so slightly still prioritizing building ships. So I would say it's still okay-ish. Let's look at early games. Early games is kind of doing whatever it wants to do, with a slight emphasis on mining and also building shipyards. I think that's fine. So here it's like still trying to build shipyards. Actually, it's prioritizing building shipyard over building ship. But building shipyard is actually not possible, right? So it should start to learn that with 61 ships, it's not possible to build shipyard. So it hasn't learned that yet. I guess it takes more time to learn that. Over here, which is, well, this one doesn't have shipyard, so we don't really care what it does. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, here again, it's still prioritizing building ships, which is the correct move. It's just that, you know, our epsilon is still very high, so it's still like in the explore stage where it's trying out different things and see how things work instead of doing the move that is the best. All right. All right. So you can see here it's still values, you know, making a ship over others. So actually, it's this one is a pretty good case to learn on. It's a pretty good replay memory because before that we have 1.9 reward, and then after we take an action of 2 building ship, we got 9.5. So this should back propagate to the neural network, telling it, you know, building ship at this in this particular situation is good, right? But then again, because we lost eventually, so this one is not that useful. I mean, if it had done it earlier, then it's more useful. Hopefully it has done it earlier. So because we're only looking at the last few turns, so I'm not able to fully tell whether it's correct or not. Maybe we should have logged an entire game so that we can take a closer look at exactly what happened. That's an interesting idea that I should try next time. So you can see once we lost the shipyard, everything starts dropping, right? So I think that's correct, because whatever you do here, it doesn't really make much difference at all. Yeah, you can see before it died, it actually prioritized building ships and also mining for some reason. So this is wrong, but this is kind of okay. Let's take a closer look at more data points. It's mining and building ship, which is not very good. This is not correct, right? Hopefully it's gonna correct that. This is step. Okay, this is better. And this is doesn't matter. This one is good. Doesn't matter. This one, yeah, good, pretty good. It's prioritizing building ships. This one, I'm a little bit tunnel vision on the last few moves because that's where I see the most discrepancy, but I should honestly be looking at all the moves. But yeah, I'm just looking at the last few moves. I think it's making the correct move so far, right? It's making the correct moves so far. Definitely should have removed the round function. I don't know what I was thinking to round off already. A very small number resulted from the log2, so that's definitely reducing its capability of inferring a lot of stuff. So that's a pretty bad move, actually. I will do it next time. I don't want to, adding too much variables to this model. Yeah. So I guess the queue is starting to stagnate around here. But it should start picking up once we start winning games, right? I'm just hoping that we will start winning some games. And then the queue should start picking up. But we're not winning games, so that's, I guess, the problem here, is that we're not winning games, which is problematic. We stop winning games around here. Maybe the reward in the early game was not very well designed, such that it's by the time it reached towards the end, it's already pretty bad. I mean, that could be an explanation on why things are going this way. Yeah, definitely could be due to that reason. So interesting. It's not able to finish the games at all, even though its actions towards the end are mostly correct. I guess it doesn't really matter towards the end, right? Whatever action you take, it doesn't really matter. It's still gonna die. Even if you keep building ships, you're still gonna die, right? I feel like we should honestly start logging the opponent's ship count and stuff like that to see what's the power dynamics. Send out to mine. Still prioritizing mining. Oh my god, that's so bad, right? That's very bad. Shouldn't be doing that. Alright, so this one is a little bit interesting because it's doing what I wanted to do, but it's not performing well. I think somewhere in the beginning it's not doing well. And by the time it reach here, it's just nothing that it can do to salvage the situation anymore. So I feel like that's why it's losing so much. Can it turn back the tide and start winning? It's still 60% random chance, right? So maybe that means my model is really, really bad. It's worse than average, worse than random. That's why it's not winning any games. Maybe it's expanding too aggressively somehow. Really interesting, huh? Really interesting. I guess the queue also tells the story, right? It's not able to do better than what's happening here and start dropping. On the other hand, loss is dropping very, very fast. Could this be like kind of turned over? Oh wait, why is it prioritizing mining here? That's so bad. That is the worst move that you could ever make. That's the worst move. I hope that it learned that mining is not good in this case. You should definitely not mine here. Again here, trying to mine leads to lower rewards. Trying to build should technically leads to higher reward, but it's too late, right? Yeah, somehow it's not working well for us, and I'm not too sure how to salvage this situation because it's already doing what we want towards the end of the game, but it's probably too late. It's too late at this stage to do anything to salvage it. Like our reward is dropping from 23 to 1, so that's a bit sad. It's a bit sad. How can it learn to do better? Or is this the necessary dip for us to become better? To come back? Huh. It's a really, really interesting problem to have. Let's look at the turn numbers. So it's starting to come up a little bit and it's gone down again. I guess it's the interaction with enemies that is causing it to lose its Q value, right? If you expand too fast, then you lose grounds. There's not much you can do, right? It's not building shipyards. Hmm. Only good thing in this is that the loss is still decreasing. The loss decreasing means that our predictions are more and more accurate, but our prediction value is dropping. So our prediction is better, but our predicted result is getting worse. What could that possibly mean? It could be the other way around, right? Because our reward is less and less, so our prediction is getting better and better. Yeah, that could be also one reason why the loss is decreasing. Now we cannot even last 300 rounds. Okay, we need to take a closer look at what is actually happening that caused it to not work. Let's look at this turn 200, right, to see if we can spot something for the things that are winning. Why is winning? So we have 5 shipyards here, a lot of ships, 4 shipyards, 4 shipyards, 3 shipyards, 3, 5 shipyards, 1 shipyard, 4 shipyard, 5, right? So I can see here there's a lot of shipyards. Then after that, we start only having 1 shipyard, right? Could it be that we're not spawning shipyard fast enough? So here it's, oh yeah, here it should be prioritizing spawning shipyard. Yes, it's trying to do that. Here it should be prioritizing spawning shipyards. Okay. Yeah, I can see a clear trend that the number of shipyards for losing ones are significantly less than the ones where we won, right? So I guess it's very important that we have a large number of shipyards, but also not too many in this case, right? Too many shipyards, we also lose. Why can't the model learn this on itself? Do I need to tell it how to get it? I don't think so. I don't think I need to tell it, right? I feel like that would be over engineering. Maybe just that I need to give it more time for it to learn. Oh my god, but I don't have a lot of time to work with. I don't have a lot of time to work with. Alright, I think if you convert a shipyard to a... You convert ship to shipyard, you lose 50 ships. I guess that caused a dip in the value. I think that could be the reason why it's not... Let's try to mass dot. That's about 5. So 50 ships converts to 1. I think that's about 8. So we're losing about 8 score every time we convert, right? We lose about 8 every time we convert. Right. think I know why. Yeah, I think we're not including the shipyard count into the reward, and that is why it's not able to optimize. I think I found the reason. Yeah, we should definitely include the shipyard count to the reward. Yeah, this is not going anywhere. This is not going anywhere. Okay, I think I just need to fix this. Okay. Oh, we already have shipyard count. All right, we already have shipyard count, so we just need to get the log. Times 50, right? Let's see the log formula here. So that's the amount of reward we get for having this amount of ships, and if we change it back to 1 times 50, that is less, right? So we need 500, right? We need 2 times 500 times 50 times 10. Oh, and we need to remove the mass.round for sure. Let's remove that. Let's remove. Let's in fact remove all the round things. I think these are pretty bad for the machine learning models in terms of data. Excuse me. So let's not +1 here. Okay, we remove the mass.round. There's one more mass.round here. Let's remove all of them. We'll use the to fix later. So shipyard count log. One. Yard count. Factor. Okay. So this is correct. And then shipyard count. Need one more here. Shipyard count log. Right, dot fixed 1. Everything is dot to fix 1. Okay, so we fix the reward. Let's also fix the other thing. Okay, so we fixed this already. We remove the mass.round. Right? Yeah, we remove the mass.round. This should be easier for you to identify. We need to increase the alpha. Yes, we definitely need to increase the alpha. It's too slow. So I'm gonna increase it. Okay, this one is done. Okay, I think this should theoretically do much better than what we have. last time. So let's try it out. Hopefully everything works. Oh wait, shipyard can't cause the initial reward to be very, very high. I guess that's fine. That's fine. I guess actually fine. Okay, it might cause us to the need to readjust the reward system because we're already seeing 36 coming up, and our win reward was 35. So that's not very good. That's not very good at all. Oh yeah, once you start having 2, then it's even higher, right? Or 2 or 3, I don't know. Let's see. Is it still 1? Can I get one that we have more than 2 shipyards? 2 is 10. Okay. Three is 10.6. Okay. Okay. So that's already 33. It's definitely gonna be higher than our eventual reward. So we need to tune this a little bit. We cannot let it be higher than winning. So that wouldn't make any sense. And so I have to tune this a little bit. Let's drop this to 0.8 and then increase our rewards across the board to compensate for this. Yes. Yeah. We need to compensate for this. So the win reward is gonna be increased to 65. Survive is gonna be 50. Survive with reward is gonna be 45. I think this should compensate for the increased reward from shipyard. Okay. Let's try again. All right, how many hours do we have left? 16 hours, right? We have 16 hours to train a model that is better than what we have. Let's see. Okay, so now this one we have 5 shipyards and 35, right? So 35 is still, I would say, yeah, lower than this for sure, for the survival one. Yeah, pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Okay, it's doing what it does well. So unfortunately, we have to wait for a very long time before we get any meaningful result again. Yeah, I think what was our previous run? I think this one. Wait, this one? Yeah, this one. Right? So yeah, I hope to avoid this kind of situation. Yeah, so I think now I know why this happened. It's our reward function is failing to account for a very important component of the game, which is the shipyard count. That's why even though it was optimizing towards what I said, but the expected reward just keep going down because it doesn't recognize the value of shipyards, right? So now I think I've fixed that. So this should be theoretically much better, hopefully. But it also would mean that it would really value building shipyards now, right? So I think we might have to tune this shipyard reward factor a little bit down if it's prioritizing too much building shipyard, because not every time it's good idea to build shipyards, right? Even though it's very important, but it might not be 0.8 factor important. It might be like 0.2 or 0.1, 0.5. So we need to kind of tune this hyperparameter a little bit. So these are what I would call also hyperparameters, right? These are parameters, but also I'm not sure if hyperparameter is the correct term. All right, it's already winning games, but this is just pure random, right? So nothing to be proud of yet. Okay, so the reward function needs to be very smooth. That's something I learned. Hopefully now that our reward function is quite smooth. See here, 16 ships. I almost feel like we need to design reward taking into account of the turn number, but I don't know if that's a good idea. I feel like we should be agnostic to turn numbers even. Yeah, I'm not too sure how to best encode this like not enough ship problem. So this is -5 and start dropping. Yeah. Or maybe we need more neurons and more layers, right? That could be another way to solve these problems. Like we just need more neurons to compute these kind of things. Oh my god, I'm running out of space for displaying all this stuff. Okay, so the mistake previously led to us to a graph that looks like this, right? So this is the wrong trend where at around I would say it's 70k, which is where it becomes bad, right? So we need to look out for that. I think at any time if our queue start decreasing, that's a very bad sign. That's definitely something wrong. So I think I'm already aware of that. So anytime the queue start decreasing, is definitely something wrong. And also if the turn number start decreasing, then it's definitely also something wrong. So these are the signs that we need to look out for a failed model. Yeah. Oh no, reward. Oh, I think this is where I think I need to add another to fix. Oops. Reward. Okay, I think it's somewhere here. Yeah, final reward to fixed 0. Yeah. Okay, that's a small problem. We can fix that later. Not a big deal. Nice. Our loss is actually decreasing quite fast. I think it's decreasing more than 6 per game. At this rate, we only need 46 game for it to drop to 0. I mean, of course, it's not gonna drop to 0, but the trend is looking pretty good, right? It's dropping like almost exponentially. Not really exponentially, but dropping quite fast. Okay, it's starting to slow down a bit. It was actually dropping even faster before. Oh no, now our queue is starting to go down. Oh no, that's a worrying sign, right? That's a very worrying sign that the queue shouldn't go down like that. Let's take a look. 28 says dropping down from 28 to. Okay, that's a bad sign. That's a very bad sign. Not able to go beyond 28. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, I have another solution because we're taking log of the things and then multiply, adding them together. Maybe a better way is to compute the overall reward first through addition and subtraction, and then log it, right? I think that's probably a better way of calculating our net worth or reward, right? So this log thing is kind of confusing the model a lot. Yeah, I feel like that could potentially be the explanation of why this is starting to drop. You can see here it's also starting to drop. So let's watch for like maybe 1 or 2 more minutes. If it's continuing, then we need to fix this problem. Yeah, it's starting to drop already. And we're not winning games anymore. So that's a very good sign that this is not working. So I think, yeah, the problem is we are taking log and then adding them together to get a reward, whereas I should be adding them together then taking log, because that's actually the value will be completely screwed up, right? Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely still going down here. Yeah. Okay, let's stop this, and I think I will call this a bug fix. So it's pretty important bug fix actually. So instead of taking the logs here, I would be taking the log later, right? So I shouldn't be taking log here at all. I shouldn't be taking log here. And where's the other log? Shape count log, right? I shouldn't be taking log here. I shouldn't be taking log here. Right? So instead of taking log there, I should just multiply them here. And then taking a log globally. Right? So this is a better way of doing things. A log, maybe I throw in a 1 just in case. Alright, so this is a correct formula to calculate, and then we can put these factors inside as well. Right? So to prioritize building ships and stuff like that. And then final reward is just gonna be this plus the ship count penalty. So we don't have all this log thingy going on here. We don't even need to fix here because it's gonna be a whole number, right? Reward, maybe you still need reward. Wait, reward, log reward. Okay, we don't need this anymore. So that would be something like this: reward slash this slash this. So we don't need log reward anymore. Ship count, shipyard count, and final reward, right? So these two are the same. Reward, ship count, shipyard count, final reward. Okay. Shipyard count, string. Okay. Well, we don't need shipyard count anymore. Oops. Oh, what happened? What the hell just happened? That somebody pressed my... Oh no. Okay, my keyboard just started doing random things. Wow, that's a little bit scary, isn't it? Very scary. And my keyboard started doing random things. Not sure why. I think it's probably some interference. Okay, now it's just not recognizing my keyboard. Okay. All right. So I have a problem with my keyboard. Wow, what a good timing to have a problem with the keyboard. Now I just gonna ditch this keyboard, I guess, and try to use my other thing. Okay. Huh, that's really weird. I never seen that before. I mean, my keyboard did have some problem before, but nothing like that, which is crazy. It's starting to act in a very crazy way. Okay, let me put my keyboard on chart. I have another keyboard, but it's a wire keyboard, so it's a little bit hard to do. I'll get another keyboard for sure. I think this one is kind of broken for some reason. Maybe it's just wait, is there another wireless thing going on? Maybe it's this wireless charger. I don't know, something is wrong with those Bluetooth connections. Yeah, definitely something is wrong here. Not too sure why. So what was I doing? Okay, I'm fixing the log issue. Okay, so I have this ship count out ship count final. Okay, I think that should be correct. To go here, change this to 66. Run this again. Okay, let's see if this is the run. Yeah, the more you learn, right? The more you know, the more you learn. The more mistakes you make, the more you learn. So now the reward is actually very, very small. Now the reward is actually very small. It's almost negative. Hopefully this is the correct formula to calculate those things. Yeah, I definitely should have logged more turns to see if the reward formula is smooth, because I got a feeling that it was not smooth because of the way I did the log things. And now the log thing should be fixed. It's just that now I still have those penalties for not having not enough ships, right? I don't know if I should also remove them. But hopefully those penalties will serve to encourage it to build more ships. Maybe I should actually remove them and see whether they are actually needed. Looking at this, I feel like the winning and losing reward is too high and too low respectively for after we correct this formula. Okay, let's try our keyboard. Give our keyboard another chance. Not too sure why it's suddenly starting to act completely weirdly. Oh no. Still doing weird things. Okay. 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 It's probably a bad idea. Oh my god. This is weird. I have another keyboard, but I don't have enough ports to connect to it. Wait a second. This one is connected to this thing. Okay, let me try something. I do have another keyboard here. Let me try this real quick. I do have another keyboard. See if I can get this one to work. I'm gonna move my camera a little bit. Put this one in. Camera. Camera a little bit. Okay. See, okay. It's actually working. This camera is working fine. Oh, sorry. I mean, this keyboard is working. All right. Okay, it's working fine. It's just a little bit hard to get used to because it's a full-size keyboard. It's not a small keyboard, it's a full-size keyboard. Okay. Yeah, it's a different size from my previous keyboards. It's usually it's the same size. Somehow it feels very different. Anyway, I'm glad that I had a spare keyboard here. Otherwise, I wouldn't know how to write code. It would be quite awkward. Okay, let me try a few things here. Okay, this is fine, I guess. Okay, I guess I'm still not used to typing on this because this one has a very different key travel compared to the previous one. It's also much bigger because it's a full-size keyboard. So I'm gonna have to slowly get used to this. Sorry if I start typing very slowly. Okay, let me close my calendar. I don't want to review too much information here. All right, let's see. Some reason my computer is slowing down. Okay, it's not one single game. I mean, it's won some games, but oh my god, the trend start beginning where Q start dropping down. Oh no, why is it still dropping down? I guess if it's still dropping down, then I have to log the whole thing and investigate why, I guess. Maybe my reward function is not that good after all. 7.97, 7.93. So it's definitely starting to drop down. 7.8. So it's dropping down very fast. 0.7. Oh. Yeah, that's a problem with all the very stable baseline, right? You don't know what is actually wrong and stuff like that. You're left guessing why it doesn't work. I guess the problem with this run is that it didn't win a single game. That led it to not know how to get better. just that the reward is not encoded correctly in general. Maybe. Yeah, it's not winning games. That's why the queue is starting to drop. Because if you don't win games, then the rewards is just not high, right? It's very low. But I should have fixed that already. I should have fixed that with the correct formula. So now if things are not working, then something else is wrong. Maybe it just needs more time. If I have encoded everything correctly, then the only explanation is that it needs more time to learn what's the right thing to do. But the queue is still dropping. Wait. Oh wait, I suddenly thought of something. I suddenly thought about something, and maybe I have written the formula wrong. Anyway, final reward. Yeah, I definitely did this wrongly. Okay, I know why. I wrote the formula wrongly. I should have taken into account of the multiplier, right? So the each ship is okay. Okay, I need to define a multiplier. Ship multiplier is equal to 50 because it takes out 10 because it takes 10 core to build a ship. Multiplier and shipyard multiplier is 50 because it takes 50 ships to build a shipyard, right? So for ship count, it needs to multiply with the ship multiplier. Yeah, I forgot about this. Completely forgot about this. Sorry about this. So for the shipyard, it's gonna be okay. I'll just do this for the readability sake. This one is gonna multiply by the shipyard multiplier. Okay, so now my formula is correct. Hopefully this is a correct formula. I'm still not 100% sure, but this is the previous one was definitely wrong. So wait, where is the somehow this file was lost. Train constant 67. Okay, so this is gonna be the run. This is definitely gonna be the run. I kept saying this, but it's already 67 runs later. Oh my god, I made so many mistakes, but at the same time, I think I learned a lot. Like all these silly mistakes where I forgot to code the multiplier. That's so painful. My god, why did I not notice that? It's so obvious, yet I didn't notice. Oh my god. Now all these values should start becoming much higher, right? So now we're saying 11, 10. Let's compare to the previous one. 9, 10, 10, 11, 10, 9, right? So It's definitely higher, not a lot higher, but definitely higher. So you can see here is 9.5, here is 11, 10.6, 11. So definitely looking much better. So I haven't seen one that is less than 10. So definitely overall Q value is becoming higher. We should be also observe a much higher Q value compared to our previous run. So let's observe for this one takes 11 minutes. Yeah, let's take a look at this. We don't have much time left. Again, we only have 15 hours. Yeah, honestly, I feel like this is probably where we're gonna end up being. Yeah, okay. It's not a big problem for us. We're just doing this for fun anyway. Alright, it's already starting to see the wings, so that's pretty good. It's a good sign. That's a very good sign. Always a good sign that you have been winning games, even though it's random, mostly random. Now think back, right? Actually, the previous baselines were working just because of pure luck, right? Because the formula has been wrong all the time. Actually, there's no chance that it was doing the correct thing, right? So it's just by luck that the previous baselines were actually working, I think. Pretty interesting. Shipyard. Okay, I think I should have a dedicated section for shipyard again, because it's not very hard. It's quite hard to read this shipyard count. Oh, somehow it's prioritizing. Wait a second. Why is it? Is this prioritizing doing nothing over building a ship? Why would it do that? Should be slightly higher reward, right? It should be slightly higher reward to build ship, because this has a multiplier of 1.3. And also there's a penalty here. So I hope this is just a mistake that it's trying to correct for. Okay, definitely, yeah. So this looks more correct to me. Should prioritize building ships. It's about the same, which is interesting, I guess. We have to observe more. I think this is too early to tell whether it's doing the correct thing or not. Okay, this looks much more reasonable, right? This looks much reasonable. One shipyard, very few ships, so you should be building ships. Yeah, action 2. Okay, looking good. And the turn numbers are also very high. Although it's not winning, but okay, we're winning some games, which is good. Yeah, the turn numbers are actually quite high, right? Almost winning these games. Let's see this one. Yeah, it's prioritizing building ships. It's correct. It's the correct move. It's the correct move. If we hadn't had this random probability, we would have won this game actually. Let's look at the graph. Yeah, it's doing what I expected to do. It's gonna go much higher than 66. So, oh no, actually I just realized you guys can't see the numbers. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, but anyway, how do I make you guys see the numbers? I guess I could move my camera here. Yeah, so now you can see the so previously it's number 66. Start going down, right? So this the new one that we fix the formula. Now it's just going up, right? I guess eventually it's gonna stabilize somewhere, but at least it's doing better than the previous one for sure. Here's the corrected formula. I hope it wouldn't start going down like right now. I'm really hoping that it doesn't go down. At this stage, I'm just praying that it works. But of course, I know it's all deterministic, and it really depends on whether I've written the correct code or not. I shouldn't be praying. I should just be checking my code. Okay, so it's starting to go down a little bit, which is worrying. So we might have to analyze again why it's going down. Right. The good news is that the turn number is not going down yet, so it might be just a temporary thing. And the action it's producing is also correct. 9.2, okay. 9.2, going up again. Really needs to start winning games, otherwise it's not gonna know how to get better. Okay, finally won one game, so this should help a little bit. Although it's not a very good way to win games, it has very low ship count, so I guess that's not a very good example of winning, but still, it's better than nothing. Let's see. Yeah, so in order to let the agent learn, you have to really model the reward function really, really well so that it knows, what's the state to target and what's not a good state, stuff like that. It really depends on the reward function. If your reward function is shit, then your agent is gonna aim for the non-optimal targets. That's the story here. But for things like this, where it's, you see, here is at the better state and then it dropped to a worse state. So I think this is something the agent should be able to learn, right? Like it should, or maybe it's just the reward function not modeled correctly, so that it's not able to get to a better reward or something like that. I don't know. It's quite hard to tell. Okay, this one we almost won, but we lost all the ships. Actually, this one, if we follow the action again, we would have won, right? Because it's 8.1. Yeah. Oh, actually, this one, we built ship, but we didn't get any reward for that, so that's gonna be a problem. Hopefully it still works. So this is the case where it changed from 30 to 36. So the ship penalty didn't really change, right? So it has to go from 20 to 50. Then it's gonna change this. Yeah, it should go above 50 for it to change to -3. Right? So it didn't really change here. Oh, that's some minor improvements that we can make, I guess, to encourage that specific action. Maybe we should just increase the ship count reward. Don't know. I'm not too sure. All these values are now super close. Oh yeah, now the queue is actually starting to drop, right? That's not a very good sign. That's not a good sign. Starting to resemble the old behavior again. Huh. Okay, and the turn number also start dropping. Okay, hopefully it's only temporary. Thing I noticed is it has very few shipyard counts compared to the ones that we won by pure luck, right? So maybe we should give higher weightage for the shipyard count, not a lower weightage. Could be one way to change the dynamics. Okay, but now the queue is actually going up again. So maybe there's a chance that it's gonna get better. It's discovering the good states, maybe. Okay, it won. 50, let's see. 50 reward is for survive with high core but not winning. Okay, so that should boost the Q value. Oh, it's actually a close win, so close survival. Not a good example, actually. Not really a good example. I feel like I might be optimizing too much on this, reward penalty stuff. I should just let it do the vanilla reward. Maybe that's better. That could be a thing. Could be a thing. Let's observe for a few more minutes and decide what to do next. Feel like this is probably not the best way to put it still. Yeah, the penalty thing might be screwing things up, and we need to kind of turn up the weightage for the shipyard because I think it's not building enough shipyards. Like, I feel like I gotta feel that it's not having enough shipyards. That's why it doesn't have enough ships at this stage. Like in this case, it should definitely have more shipyards than this, right? Um, yeah, and also our penalty is kind of screwing up calculations for situations like this where it's just I mean, it's okay that it's trying to build ships, but I feel like it's over penalizing the Q value for all these cases. I don't know if I should have more patience for it to become better, or should I just stop and redo my reward function? Let's see. Oh, oh, I think if the loss stops dropping and then Q is also dropping. So if the loss start increasing and Q start dropping, I guess that's the point where it shows the model is just not working, right? I guess if two things are going wrong, then it's good time to redo the whole thing. But if loss is still dropping, that means we still have a chance of reaching a better state than this. Yeah, so the loss is still dropping, so that means it's still able to optimize the Q value, the correct to optimize towards the correct Q value. And the Q value is not really dropping per se, it's just fluctuating around 9. So if I had more time, I would just let this run overnight and wake up and see what's happening. But for this competition, I think we only have like 14 hours, 15 hours left. So I'm not too sure if I should allow this to continue training or should just like stop and then try something new. Maybe I should look for my second PC to continue training this. Okay. Let's take a closer look if we turn up the smoothing. Is it a good trend? So the turn number is dropping. Q is good. Loss is good. So two things are good. Reward is not good. Turn number is not good. So two things are going well. Two things are not going well. I think if three things are going not well, then we should give up, right? So it's either the Q start dropping or loss start increasing, then we should just give up and try something new. But so far that hasn't really happened, so there's still a chance. It's different from the 66 round where, you know, the Q is already dropping, right? So that's a little bit different in the previous case, right? If we turn this to 0.9, you can see the Q is already dropping. But in this case, the Q is actually just fluctuating around 9. So it's a little bit different. So we might still have a chance at this. 9.8, 8.9, 8.8. I mean, the Q not increasing is already telling us our real function is bad. It's just how bad it is. Is it still okay enough to get a good thing, or it's just bad in a bad, very bad, right? It's definitely not able to win any game so far. What is that? To analyze shipyard count is always 2. So this is 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. I need to somehow encourage it to have more shipyards than this. Somehow, 200 turns. I think it should have more than 2 shipyards by turn 200. Okay, let's watch some replay and see what's a good number to have when you are around 200 turns. Right? We can just watch some random replay from the good players and see what's the good value. So this is 200 turns. It has 3 shipyards, right? So that actually even before 200 turns, it has 3 shipyards, right? So let's say one data point. Let's look at this guy against some other guy. $200 turns. Again, the winner has 3 shipyards. Right. So again, this should be something that we try to achieve. Right. Yeah. So somewhere around 200, it has 3 shipyards. Okay, so this one has 4 shipyards. This one has 2 shipyards. 2, 3. I guess it's normal. I guess it's normal to have 3. I mean, so this looks normal actually, right? It's probably for some other reason that we're losing these games. Okay, looking at this graph. Yeah, it's just not doing so well in general. Hmm. Yeah, actually, I don't think this is going anywhere, so I might be just gonna stop this here. Unless I get a 400 here. Okay, I didn't get a 400 here, so stop this and remodel the reward function here a little bit. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna remove the unnecessary stuff that I feel like probably is not doing more harm than good. So like the ship penalty, I'm just gonna remove that completely. And then I'm gonna log the shipyard count here. Right, so that's okay. I guess I can log the shipyard count twice. It's fine. And then the reward. Okay, final reward probably want 2 decimal places because we can have interesting small values that we care about. After we've done that, let's tune the multiplier, right? So ship count definitely should have a multiplier. Maybe it's 1.3 is too low. Let's make it 1.5. Make this 1.5 as well. Right? So that's interesting, right? So we're now encouraging to build shipyard, not discouraging. Okay. Let's see how it works. Actually, I don't know if 1.5 is a good number, but we need to do experimentation to see, right? So it's okay. We still have quite a lot of time to burn for today, so let's just try this. No harm trying. Let's see. So now towards the end, the reward function is not very smooth, right? But at least I think in the start it should be more smooth. Yeah, towards the end it's not smooth anymore because I removed the penalty for having no ships. Feel like that's a little bit distracting. That's why I removed it. I want everything to be sort of controlled via this reward factors. I think these are easier to tune. That's why I removed the penalty. Also because it's additional complexity, right? To figure out, to reason about what's a good penalty and stuff like that. So I would rather start with a simple model where I can establish a baseline and then experiment with different penalties. I feel like this model should be powerful enough to do well without, very specific penalties. As long as we encode the state and reward correctly, it should figure it out. Well, of course, assuming that DQN is a suitable model for this problem. Maybe DQN is just not suitable for this problem at all, so that could also be another reason. But as we have already seen, the random agent is already doing well, right? So we should be able to model something better than the random agent. Let's see. Okay, this is not looking good. The turn numbers are very low. Oh, I guess it started out very low. Okay. So hopefully this is gonna lead to a much higher queue because these two reward factors has both been tuned up already. Oh no, it's still only having one shipyard. It's only having one shipyard at this stage instead of 3 or more. Hmm. This one has 3. Three, okay. Now it's starting to have 3 shipyards. Yeah, I can definitely see that it's trying to prioritize building shipyards now. Right. Even this one is trying to build shipyards. So I guess that's a good thing. You're already at 11. So that's already higher than it's previously able to achieve. Now it's definitely trying to prioritize building shipyards. You can see a lot of action 3 being the highest value action. But it should also try to learn that having too many shipyards is a bad thing. Hopefully it's gonna learn when to stop building shipyards. Yeah, I think it should have enough information to know when to stop building shipyards, right? If we model the reward correctly. Hopefully it's gonna learn. Okay, finally it won a game. But very close win. It's a very close win. Has no ship and only one shipyard. Ah. Yeah, that's the first win. And our turn count is actually very, very, very low compared to our previous results. I wonder what went wrong in this one. It's just not able to win. Like, if it's following the policy, then it's not winning. Why is that the case? I feel like there's a lot of factors that are interplaying here. The epsilon, the chance of taking random move, how good our policy is at the start, and how our reward function is doing at start and at the end, all affect. It's like very hard to pinpoint exactly what's wrong. Which is also the fun part of this, right? You don't know what's wrong, you're just trying to figure out how to make it better. I feel like I've been focusing too much on the towards the end, but not enough towards the start. Probably there's a lot more that I can tune when this game is just starting that I haven't really tuned. Maybe, just maybe, I really just needed more time for it to learn. Maybe I'm terminating the training process too early. Maybe it just needs more time to learn what's the optimal, right? Maybe it just needs more time. There's a lot of nuances in the early and mid game, like when to build shipyards, when to mine, and when to build ships. So I think I should actually give it more time to learn exactly what is a good time to do each of these. You can see here the values are very close. So at the beginning and the midterm, these values are super close. So, oh, okay, maybe another way to let it learn faster is to just drop the gamma, right? Because that will make these numbers very different. Oh, but if I drop the gamma, then it wouldn't be able to know that action. And because all the mining stuff, it takes a lot of turns to return back, right? So it's not able to kind of know. So there's a lot of noise and long-term planning involved in this game, which is annoying because you take action and then only after turns that the reward is starting to manifest, so you wouldn't necessarily know. Yeah, it's tricky to write reinforcement learning for this problem for sure, because the reward is so late. You kind of have to set high gamma, but if you set high gamma, then the noise is just gonna take over your training process. Like there's too much noise in this game. I almost feel like I should turn the gamma even higher so that it can account for the reward better. Yeah, maybe just time. I just need more time to train this. maybe it just needs more time. Hopefully it just needs more time. Very interesting graph. Oh, it's starting to drop again. Okay, I guess I'll just have to give it more time then. I shouldn't give up that early. I feel like there's no obvious errors in what I'm doing here. Yeah, I don't think there's any obvious problems with this, so maybe it just needs more time. I already stripped this down to bare minimum, right? Like this is the only formula I have. And I feel like it should give us a decent baseline. If it's not, then we need to, try something fundamentally different, I feel like. So yeah, but it's a learning process, right? So I guess it's normal that things don't work as you expect. Yeah, I think it's very normal for things to not work. Uh, Another supporting evidence for it needs more time is that, once we have a decent policy, then the policy is going to require consistent, correct execution in order to maintain that advantage, right? But we still have a epsilon that is very, very high, so it's not able to execute what it needs to do, right? So that could cause the performance to be very low, right? So it could be also due to that. So we have to wait for this epsilon to drop to a reasonably low level for it to execute the strategy effectively. Yeah, so it's like when it's transitioning between random and coordinated move, there will be a drop in the performance, right? So that could explain why it's doing this. So yeah, or at least Q is not dropping per se yet. Q is not really dropping per se. It's just maintaining there. I mean, this could potentially be a good sign that it just needs to not do things at random to get better. Yeah, I mean, I really hope that it is this case. I'm really hoping that this is the case. But so far, all our reward function seems to be correct. It's doing the correct things at the correct time. I might just need to give it more time, right? Okay. All right, I think this has been already a very long stream, so I wouldn't, I would just the stream here and let this continue training, and in the next turn, I will let this continue training. off stream, and then we'll see how well this works. And if this doesn't work, then we'll figure out something else. Yeah. All right, I guess. Yeah. Thank you all for watching this stream, and I will see you in a few hours, I think.